The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, its screen glowing like a beacon in the dim evening light. I froze, fork halfway to my mouth, as the words "helping Dad" flashed across the notification from Sarah. My stomach twisted. Not from hunger but from the sudden, inexplicable weight of those two words. Dad, her dad, was sitting across from me, his weathered hands wrapped around a beer, laughing about the time he caught a fish so big it nearly tipped his boat. I stared at the text, my pulse thudding in my ears, drowning out his chuckle. Sarah wasn't with her father. She was somewhere else, with someone else, and the lie burned like acid in my chest. The dining room smelled of roasted garlic and the steak Dad had insisted on grilling, its charred edges still sizzling faintly on the plate. His voice, warm and gravelly, filled the space as he recounted another story, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. I forced a smile, nodding, while my mind raced. Sarah's text was time-stamped 6:47 p.m. It was 7:12 now. She'd sent it casually, as if it were nothing, as if I wouldn't be sitting here with her father, the man she claimed to be helping. My thumb hovered over the phone, itching to reply, to demand answers, but I didn't. Not yet. I needed to think, to piece together the fragments of doubt that had been piling up for weeks. Sarah had been distant lately, her laughter rarer, her eyes skittering away when I asked about her day. I'd chalked it up to stress. Her job at the law firm was relentless, with late nights poring over case files. Or so she said. There was that night last month when she came home at 2 a.m., her blouse wrinkled, her perfume faintly overlaid with something musky, unfamiliar. Lost track of time, she'd mumbled, slipping into bed without meeting my gaze. I'd believed her because I wanted to. Because love makes you blind. Or maybe just stupid. Dad's voice snapped me back. You okay, Nate? You're looking pale. His gray eyes narrowed, concern etching lines deeper into his face. I swallowed, the steak in my mouth suddenly tasteless, like chewing cardboard. Yeah, just work stuff, I lied, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. He nodded, accepting it, and took another swig of beer. I envied his ignorance, the ease of not knowing that the life you built could be unraveling with a single text. I excused myself, mumbling about needing air, and stepped onto the back porch. The night was cool, the air sharp with the scent of pine from the woods beyond our yard. The stars were out, indifferent to the chaos in my heart. I opened Sarah's text again, rereading it as if the words might rearrange into something less damning. Helping Dad. So simple, so innocuous. But it was a crack in the foundation of us, and I could feel the whole structure trembling. I thought back to the little things, the way she'd started locking her phone, something she never used to do. The vague excuses for missed dinners, the sudden girls' nights, with friends I'd never met. I'd rationalized it all, telling myself I was paranoid, that marriage was about trust. But trust is a fragile thing, and hers was starting to feel like a house of cards in a windstorm. I dialed her number. It rang once, twice, then went to voicemail. Her voice, bright and warm, invited me to leave a message, but I hung up, my throat tight. I texted instead. How's it going with your dad? Simple, non-accusatory. A test. The reply came almost instantly. Fine, just running some errands for him. Be home late. My grip tightened on the phone, the plastic creaking. Errands. At 7:30 p.m. With her father, who was currently inside, asking for another slice of pie. I went back in, the warmth of the house suffocating now. Dad was still at the table, his plate nearly clean. Sarah's helping you tonight, huh? I said, keeping my tone light, conversational. His brow furrowed and he set down his fork. Helping me? Nah, haven't seen her since last weekend. She called to check in, but that's it. His words landed like a punch, knocking the air from my lungs. I nodded, forcing a laugh. Must have mixed up her plans, I said, but my voice cracked, and he looked at me like he knew something was wrong. The rest of dinner was a blur. I cleared the plates, the clink of ceramic too loud in my ears, and said goodbye to Dad, promising to call soon. Alone in the kitchen, I poured a whiskey, the amber liquid catching the light as it sloshed into the glass. I didn't drink it, just stared, letting the burn of betrayal settle into my bones. I needed answers, but I dreaded them. What if it wasn't just a lie? What if it was worse? I drove to her office, the city lights blurring past like streaks of guilt. The law firm's building loomed ahead, all glass and steel, cold and unyielding. Her car wasn't in the lot. I checked the time. 8:15 p.m. No one worked this late, not even Sarah. I called again, and again it went to voicemail. My mind spun with possibilities, each one uglier than the last. A coworker? A client? Someone I didn't even know? The thought of her with someone else, laughing, touching, sharing parts of herself that were supposed to be mine, made my vision blur with rage and grief. I drove to her friend Lisa's house next, the one she'd mentioned for those girls' nights. The house was dark, no cars in the driveway. My hands shook as I gripped the steering wheel, the leather creaking under my fingers. I was running out of places to look, out of excuses to make for her. Then I remembered the hotel receipt I'd found in her coat pocket 2 weeks ago. $129 for a night at the Marriott downtown. She'd said it was for a client meeting, a last-minute booking. I hadn't questioned it. I hadn't wanted to. The Marriott's lobby was all polished marble and soft jazz. The kind of place that screamed secrets. I approached the front desk, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. "I'm looking for my wife Sarah Bennett," I said, my voice hoarse. The clerk, a young woman with a tight smile, typed something into her computer. "I'm sorry, sir, no one by that name is checked in." I showed her a photo on my phone, Sarah's face glowing with the smile that used to light up my world. The clerk's eyes flickered with recognition, then pity. "I can't give out guest information, but she might be in the bar." The bar was dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of bourbon and perfume. I saw her before she saw me. Sarah, in a corner booth, her hand resting on a man's arm. He was older, polished, his suit crisp and his smile too familiar. She laughed, her head tilted back, the way she used to laugh with me. The world tilted, and I stood frozen, my heart a raw, bleeding thing. She looked up, and our eyes met. Her face went pale, the laughter dying in her throat. "Nate," she whispered, standing, her hands fluttering like trapped birds. The man looked between us, his expression unreadable. I didn't know him, but I knew enough. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice trembling. But the lie was hollow, and we both knew it. I turned and walked out, the sound of her calling my name fading into the night. The truth was worse than I'd feared, but the real shock was yet to come. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning to leave, and the man in the booth was the one helping her pack up our life.